Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo First here, Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi, here in Yerushalyim, HaKodesh. We're located on Rehov Zikr Yaakov number 6 in the Beit Knesset of Chanukah Yeshivas, which is close to the central bus station. So please, if you're coming in to Yerushalayim or from Yerushalayim, you can walk or take a bus, drive if you certainly have a car. And especially if you're coming from Chutz La'aretz, join us for a shir. We'd like to help enrich your visit to Eretz Yisrael and Yerushalayim with Torah. And also, this is our first shir, 9 o'clock. We have breakfast and coffee. So it will also help you enjoy your day, hopefully. Okay, we're learning Pirkei Avos, the first parak, the fourth Mishnah. Let's just begin reading the beginning of the first sheet. Let's do a chazor of that. Would you like to read this, guys? And then we can jump back. I'll give you an introduction to the Maral, which we've been discussing the last couple of days. But let's just go through the Mishnah here.
Okay, Yossi ben Yoezer, ish Tzreda, the Yossi ben Yochanan, ish Yerushalayim, Kavlu Mehem. So the two Yossis received from them. We had a whole discussion about that, and we decided that it was from Antigonus.
Directly from Antigonus. So the question, why was it Mehem? Well, if it's only from Antigonus, why is it Russian? It should be Yossi Yuchad, which is really, according to some gears, some texts actually have a singular Lashon here. But Mehem, there are explanations why it should be Mehem. Could because Reb Shimon Tzadik and Antigonus Yisrocha were very closely related, and they received the Kabbalah first from Shimon Tzadik, but they hadn't learned, and when Shimon Tzadik was nifted, they went to learn by Antigonus. So there are also ways to understand the text as plural mehem rather than menu singular. Yeah.
Yossi ben Yoezer Omer, Yehi Beitcha, may it be your house, may your house be Bayit
Beis
Vad, a house of study, L'chachamim, for wise people, V'hayu, and may they be mitavak, misavek, ba'afar raglehem. So should you be something at their feet, in the dust of their feet?
You should become dusty with the dust of their feet. We'll explain this as we get further on, because basically they should be around them. I mean, it's not enough that they have a place of gathering, a Beis Vad in your house. You might think, okay, I'll open my house and be a Beis Vad, but I'm not going to participate, I'm not going to be around during the discussions. No. Number one, invite them into your house. Number two, make sure you're there constantly, that you're also involved in a positive way, gain from the Chachamim in your house on a regular basis.
V'hayu shoteh b'Tsama es divreihem, and it should be that you should drink.
Yes. Drink thirstily
from their words.
Right. Meaning you not only should have them come into your physical house, you should not only be physically in their proximity, but also psychologically you should be very eager to hear what they have to say.
Yossi ben Yochanan, ish Yerushalayim Omer, Yehi Beitcha Patoach. Your house should be open, the Ravacha.
Right, your house should be open to like in all directions. There should be no barriers for people coming into your house, either physical barriers or anything else might prevent people coming to your house.
V'hiyu, and they should be anim, poor people, b'nei beischa, the children of your house. So that you should accept the poor people into your house like your own children. V'al tirbeh,
Al-Tarbeh,
Tarbev, al Tarbeh, Shicha.
Sicha.
Sicha. I don't know what that means.
See, conversation. Al Tarba, don't have an abundance. Don't talk a lot.
Don't talk a lot. Okay. Im ha'isha, with your wife.
Well, this is issue with the woman.
With a woman. Don't talk a lot with a woman. Be'ishto, and with his wife.
Be'ishto amru. They were referring to your own wife, meaning their expression was al tarba sika imeisha. Don't have a lot of conversation with a woman, and this was in reference to Ishto Amr. This is in reference to a person's own wife.
Kol v'chomer, even more so, be'eshes kavero, to the wife of your friend. Mikan, from here, Amru, they said, Chachamim, wise people, Kol zaman, all the time. So from here, wise people frequently said,
they said, Mikan Amru Chachamim, from here Chachamim, the Chazal, the Noyim, the Amorim of the Gemara, calls them on any time, She'adam Marbet, that a person increases Sicha, conversation, Im Ha'isha, with a woman, Gorem Ra'a Le'atzmo. He brings evil on himself. Okay, yes.
Uvotel Midivrei Torah, and he nullifies words of Torah. V'sofo, and his end, Yoresh Gihanus. Gehenna. And in his end, he will descend to Gehenna?
Right.
Wow.
Okay, we'll be getting to this. We're going to be discussing this in detail, the whole concept of Sikha B'Tela, and we're just getting warmed up to that point, which we'll hopefully be discussing later on in the week after we finish most of the moral that we're in the middle of now. So, just to bring you up to what we've been learning, we have both, as you said, both Yosef ben Eliezer, East Zereda, and Yosef ben Yochanan, East Yerushalyim. These are what we call zugos. There are 5, in the first parak of Avos, there are 5 zugos, right? And they are pairs, which was a change in the way that the Masorah, the tradition, was transferred from one generation to the next. Previous to the zugos, they were individuals that received the Masorah, the tradition, and they gave it over to individuals, completely, absolutely. The zugos had to receive the tradition in a dual transmission, each one receiving an aspect, according to the moral's explanation, an aspect of Ava, and the other member of the pair receiving an aspect of Yira. And in fact, as all the Meforshim explained, when you have these lists of the zugos, the first one listed was the Nafshi, the prince, and the second one listed was the Av Beis Din. So it also reflects concepts of Ava and Yira, the prince being more a public person dealing with the public in general, perhaps. That's like Ava. Av Beis Din dealing with the structure and the decision and the law decision-making process and deciding specific cases of law. That's more of Yira. Okay, so now at the time of the Zugos, they were transmitting this dual message concurrently and complementary to the generations that follow. So if we're just at this point where we're analyzing the first statements of Rabbi Yossi ben Eliezer and Rabbi Yossi ben Yochanan. The first mimer that we were discussing was Rabbi Yossi ben Eliezer said that the statement. Mine was a statement. First statement that we're analyzing based on the parish of the Maram Pride is that your house should be a base vad l'chachamim. Your house should be a gathering place for the chachamim. In contrast, complementary contrast, Rabbi Yossi ben Yochanan said that your house should be a pasuk l'ravacha, and the aliyim should be like your own children. So this is both aspects of dealing with a person's house. Right? according to Rabbi Yossi ben Eliezer, your house should be a place for the Chachamim to sit, learn, discuss, and they should have their needs met for a physical place that they can take care of whatever they need to do. According to Rabbi Yossi ben Yochanan, Yerushalyim, in contrast, but in complement to that, the Yaniyim, the poor people, should be able to come into your house freely, and they should be just like your own family in terms of their ability to come and make use of the benefits that your house has to offer. So two basic approaches to what you're supposed to do with your house. Right? So the Maharal is explaining, right, and they reflect Ava and Yira. The Maharal brought proof that having the Chachamim be in your house, in the Gemara Kesubis Kufir Aleph, right, he explains that that's an aspect of Ava. Right? If you the Gemara there explains how is a person supposed to get close to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Torah says you should be doivik to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Gemara asks the question: how can a person of flesh and blood be doivik to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is ruchnius? It's not possible. So the Gemara says by being associated with Talmidei Chachamim, that's how you get close to a Kadosh Baruch Hu.
That's where it comes from.
Yes, and that's Ava, and that's an aspect of Ava, right? In contrast, and this was a bit more difficult to understand, how is it that having the Yaniyim come to your house and take part in your house just as if they were family members, how's that an aspect of yira, of fear of the Kadosh Baruch Hu? So, could be that when you're taking care of somebody who doesn't really need your, actually let me put it this way, when you're taking care of somebody who has needs, right? So, since it's so incumbent upon everybody to take care of somebody who's in a helpless situation, if you don't do that, right, they're going to, obviously, up in logic, there are going to be consequences for that, right? So a person wanting to avoid the consequences, so he's going to take care of the Yaniyim to avoid the consequences. That's like a fear of, based on Yira. Because if you don't take care of an Ani, right, then there are going to be consequences. He needs something. You must provide for him. So if you don't have it yourself, you don't have it. But if you have, you're talking you have a house, right? You have food in the refrigerator, right? So why shouldn't the poor people come in and be like your own family members, right? They need, and you have the ability to supply their needs. So by supplying their needs, you're doing that. You could be doing L'Shem Shemayim also, but it's more of an aspect of Yira that because if you don't, there are consequences which are going to have to be reckoned with. Right, so that's basically where we're involved with the moral. We're going to start over here with this paragraph.
There's two aspects of the moral teachings, Ava and Yira.
Ava and Yira, exactly.
So it goes for dealing with Yira or Ava?
Yes, depends. It depends. And, first of all, the Zubas will be dealing with Ava. We'll have to try and check this out as we go further on with the parak in this first parak in Avos. And the second partner of the pair should be discussing aspects of fear. Let's take a look there. Kvar ba'aranu. You have there that paragraph. I think we've done it a bit.
The first page.
Still on the first page, yeah. I think we turned the page yet. Okay. Dr. Going to take over a bit.
Ukvar be'aranu, ki Yosef ben Yoezer, Jakan Beit Adam, שיהיה דומה כמו שנמצא באדם עצמו. And already we have explained that Yosef ben Yoezer established the Tikkun.
Yeah, he established in this case is a good explanation. He established the bias of a person should be.
The house of a man should be like like that which is found in the person himself.
Right. He's explaining, meaning having the Beis Vad L'Chachamim, that's going to be that he wants the house should be similar to the person as it's found in the person himself. He's going to explain how is that. How is it that having the Chachamim, how can it that there should be a gathering place if they come in your house, how is that similar to the person's own personal situation? How is that?
שהשכל הוא עומד בגופו של אדם, שנחשב הגוף כמו בלבד. That like the wisdom,
The intelligence. Yeah.
the intelligence is sort of standing or placed in the body of a man that is reckoned, that thinks.
Well, it's considered, I think, here that we have the intelligence which is found in the goof of a person, right? The person has intelligence. So that intelligence that's found in the person, nikshav haguf, kamo beis vad, it's considered that the goof is like the beis vad, the meeting place. It's like the meeting place. Okay, how is he? Continues.
שיהיה ביתו דומה כפי, that his house should be like hands?
It should be similar, kifi, similar, asher bara, right?
אשר ברא השם יברח את האדם וכמו שהתבאר למעלה, similar to what was created by HaKodesh Baruch Hu.
Right. So let's stop. So the person's house. We want the morale is giving us insight into the person's house. The person's house should be, in some ways, as is going to be explained, similar to as HaKodesh Baruch Hu created the person. And the person, when he's going to set up his own house, he should model the way his house is set up according to the way HaKodesh Baruch Hu actually created Adam himself. Let's see how that works.
וכך, יוסי בן יוחנן היה מתקן בית אדם שיהיה דומה כפי מה שהוא האדם. And thus, Yossi ben Yochanan was sort of established that the house of a person should be similar to a man.
To the person. So okay. So now, let's try and look at it this way. You have the two directives that the house should be a base vad, and the house should be a place the Yaniyim should come to be like your own family. So you have the base vad, which is similar to the intelligence of the person, right? And you have the Aniyim, which are similar to the, let's call that the goof of the person, the physical goof of the person. And just like the Aniyim have physical needs, right? So that's similar to the body, the goof, that has physical needs. You have the base vad, which are the wise people of the generation, which is similar to the intelligence. So that's similar to the intelligence of a person. So I have these two. This is the parallelism we spoke about last time we met. The parallelism is as follows: that you have on one hand the house should be a place for a base vad, for intelligent discussion, and the house on the other hand should be a place for the meeting of the physical needs, right? So parallel to that, you have the intelligence of the person himself, and on the other hand, you have the physical needs of the person himself. So making your house, combining both aspects into your own house, you're replicating the situation that a person himself has to deal with and experience. Okay, we'll continue.
וזה כי תמצא כי הנפש שבאדם יושב בגוף האדם והוא בעל הבית, and this, when you find that the soul that is in man dwells in the body of man, and he is the Baal Bayit, he is the landlord,
Yeah, that's just, he's talking, I think, the nefesh, the soul of the person is the balaba, is the landlord, the owner. He's the owner.
והנה הנפש הזאת היושבת בבית, בביתו, is that repetition?
והנה הנפש הזאת היושבת בביתו, and this nefesh, the soul, is sitting in his house. He's sitting in his house, which is corresponding to the group. The soul is sitting within the house, his house, meaning the body.
And his house is open to all directions. Lefarnas, Bebefanim. It's open to all directions to sustain, to nourish those who were before him.
From within.
From within.
Yeah, I mean, the sustenance is coming from within.
The hem ha'avarim, and they are the limbs. Shehem b'finim, that are within. Mekablim parnasa, that receive parnasa.
Sustenance. Yeah.
Sustenance, right. Min hanefesh, from the soul. The chayot shalhem.
Right.
And chayot animals?
No, so
lives.
It's the life. Chayot shalhem is meaning the limbs, right? You have the soul, which is in the body, which is residing within the body. And then you have the limbs of the body, meaning the actual physical organs of the body, right, which they receive their support and sustenance from the soul, and that gives them their life. And that's their life. That gives the life to them.
והנפש הזאת שהוא
Balabayits, right? This soul is like you said, the landlord, the owner of the house.
Bavais. Ein la chabor gamor hachamor rak hanefesh hi nivdalet ein teva bo. There's not. It doesn't have chavor, an injury.
No, chibur is a connection. Gamor.
Oh, okay.
Right. I mean the soul, right? Even though it's the soul, even though it's the owner, and when it's residing in the body, ein law, it doesn't have a complete connection with the chomer, with the physical aspects of the body, right? I mean the soul is independent. Soul is independent from the body. It's connected. It's not a complete full connection to the chomer, the physical aspects, the physical matter of the body. Rak, however,
Rak hanefesh rather the soul, it is separated. Eina moteva bo. It has no nature in it. Physicality.
Muta meaning it's not sunk in. It's not sunk into it. Meaning the nefesh is separate, nivdelis. Eina mutbo. It's not sunk into it. Meaning the soul has a association with the body and the physical matter of the body, but it's not actually sunk in and actually connected directly with the physical matter of the body.
This word also means nature and
mutba, I think it's different. You see the word teva, but that's also from mutba is sort of, I think, from being immersed in it. It's not immersed in it.
V'alzeh amar, and upon this it was said, Yehei beitcha patuach l'ravacha l'parnes et asher yavo mibachutz. Let your house be open to all directions to sustain that which comes from outside. Uvazeh, and concerning this, hu domeh al hanefesh hayoshev b'beit habayit shehu mefarnes ha'avarim shehem mibachutz. This is like the soul that dwells in a house and sustains limbs that are outside.
Okay, so let's explain it as follows.
Limbs that are outside?
Yeah, meaning in relationship to the soul, which is
outside of the soul?
Yeah, they're external to the soul. The physical organs of the body are external to the soul. So the soul is what's providing the sustenance and the support for the life of the organs and limbs of the body, right? So in order that they survive, right, the soul should be open in its giving to the organs what they need, right? So likewise, when you compare this to the person's house, his house should be reflecting, right, what his relationship is between his intelligence and his soul and his physical body. So we're trying to align with this parallelism the situation that occurs between a person, his soul, his intelligence, and his body, parallel that to his situation between his house, his physical home, himself, and the place to be a meeting place for the Chachamim, and at the same time to be a place of sustenance and support for the poor people. Because that's the parallelism we're dealing with. Let's turn the page, we'll see more details here.
The Amar,
V'yu aniyim b'nei beischa.
Okay, the Amar v'yu aniyim b'nei beischa she'tefarnes aniyim she'fanim, and it was said, poor people should be like the children of your house, that in order that you may sustain the poor people, that are from within.
You should sustain them from within, or you should sustain those who are within.
The base, the aniyim should be beisecha, b'nei beisecha. Shemisfarnes aniyim shemimifnim. That the base, your bias, the aniyim should be members of your household. That they are that the aniyim that are found there in the inside should have their needs met. I mean, just like what do you do with the people of your house? The people of your house, right, you make sure that the house is providing for their needs, right? So likewise, a niyim should be like the members of your house, that your house should be a means of providing for what they need, their support.
Ki hanefesh shehu mefarnes ha'avarim mibifnim asher hem nachshavim b'nei beito. Since the soul that sustains the limbs from within, that they are considered like children of his house, ad shehu mefarnes hakol hein evarim ha'pnimim v'ha'chutzanim v'kol kachut pnimiyot וכחות שמקבלים מן הנפש כוח חיותם until Rav, I'll let you translate this one.
Okay. Ki ha-nefesh, again, the nefesh, the soul is the source that supplies the internal organs, right? The internal organs, the organs of the body are considered to be like the b'nei beisecha, right? That you have to treat your organs as poor people coming to your house that are asking and needing physical sustenance, right? So the soul is the one that's providing your organs, your physical body with the things that it needs, right? Likewise, right, we're going to apply that to the house. So va'ad until Shehu Mifarnes HaKol, Minei Ivorim, Apinimim, Rikitzonim, until all the internal and external organs are supplied, right? That all the internal strength and all the strength that they have are received from the soul. A koyach they receive from the soul a strength to live. They think their life force is coming from the soul, right? So the whole life force of all the organs, external and internal organs, they all come from this force that they receive from the soul, which gives them the power, the strength to live.
What are the external versus internal?
Basically, in terms of the anything that you can, the hands, the feet, the limbs of the thighs, knees, eyes, nose, ears, all those things are external organs. Internal are things you can't see in general. But they all receive their life force individually or collectively from the soul.
Okay.
וכשם הנפש היה נבדלת, אין לה חבור גמור על החומר כלל, and just like the soul is separated and has no complete connection to physicality in general, כך אין ראוי שיהיה בעל הבית חבור על האישה ביותר בשיחה בטלה. So too, it is not proper that the Baal Bayis be connected to the woman excessively in conversation that is bittul, that is not without purpose.
Okay, right. That the following with this parallelism, the nefesh, the soul, just as it's removed and it's not having a direct connection with the physical matter at all. The relationship between the husband and the wife shouldn't be made overly strong through sicha b'telim. You can have a strong relationship, but the means of doing it shouldn't be with sicha b'telim, right?
It's conversation.
Yeah, b'telim, a useless conversation. The yosu with the excess. With the excess of useless conversation.
And that's being likened to the physical body?
Right, that the soul being removed the soul obviously has an interaction with the body, right? But there's not a direct connection between the soul and the body. The soul remains separate from the body. And likewise, the husband with the wife, right, should remain removed and not be so together through a bond of sikha b'teila. There'll be other bonds which will be proper, but sikha b'teila should not be the bond which joins the husband and wife.
The Havein, and understand?
Yeah.
The Havein lefi zeh, masha amar sechel amar beh.
I think Shamar Shakol, that everyone, Amar Besika. Now, from this, now we're going to understand Shakol. Not say, sometimes you say without the Nukudot, it's hard to know, but sometimes it's Shakol, meaning everyone, or Seiko, or intelligence. Here it's Shakol, everyone.
Okay.
Everyone, anybody.
I understand according to this, what was said, that everyone meraved, that expands sicha, conversation ima isha with woman, botel is bittul Midoraita.
Divrei Torah.
Midivrei Torah. The Goram and his lot, his end, Ra'ah is evil, La'atzma for himself. The Yored, and he descends the Gehenim. Ki hanefesh ka'asher hu mechover el mechubar el ha-chomer chomer bevadai, indefinitely. The soul that joins to physicality, like mamish, like definitely. Betel midivrei Torah, the Hare Garam, and behold his portion. Bevadai Ra'ah la'atzmo ki devak bechomer hara bevadai yored legehenim shehu ha'eder ha'mitziot. So what's the difference between the first part of that sentence and the second part of the sentence?
Okay, beginning where? From the Havain, yeah?
I guess from...
go back to Baha'i.
Or just after Gehenim, just, from Kiyah Nefesh.
Okay, well, maybe Havain, because that's the beginning of the fourth part. So Havain, you should understand.
Sure.
The Fima She'omer, that was said, Shekol Amar B'Sikei Ma'isha Botel Medivrei Torah. It's now, what was said, that anyone who was going to have an excess of conversation with a woman, number one, he's boitel medivrei Torah. That's going to cause him to be lacking divrei Torah. He's going to be lacking divrei Torah. And gorem ra la'atzmo. Number two, he's going to cause detriment to himself. And thirdly, yard legehenim. He's going to fall into Gehenna. The explanation is key why. When the soul, right, is going to be attached to the chomer, to the physicality of this world, it's definitely going to be mevato from divrei Torah. The soul, if it's going to be involved, right, with the physicality of this world, it's going to be, number one, batal from divrei Torah, and harigaran vade rala asmo, and that's also definitely going to cause detriment to itself. Why? He david b'chaymer hara, because it's going to be connected, associated with the detrimental physicality of this world, and then as a third consequence, b'vada yord legehenim. That because if once the soul becomes attached to the physicality of this world, it's going to eventually fall to Gehenna through Edom and Metzias. The Gehenna is something which is the opposite of the Neshama's Metzias. Just like the Neshama is purely spiritual, even though it has to be associated with the physical, right? Just like a rider, if he wants to get anywhere, he has to climb on a horse and ride a horse, but the rider doesn't turn into a horse, right? Rider remains a rider. He maintains his human dignity. He doesn't become a horse. He needs the horse to make it go. So the soul likewise. The soul, in order to achieve things in this world, has to be put into a physical body, has to make use of the physical world in the proper ways, and that's going to get it to where it needs to achieve certain things, and therefore have a place of Helik and Olam Haba. But if the nefesh is going to be, right, involved with the physicalities of this world, right, it's going to, number one, be mevatel from divrei Torah, because we'll see, there's a Mesur Shashayim I can maybe quote his time now, if not, I'll quote it tomorrow. And number two, that's going to be detrimental, as we spoke about, also we quoted in the Shashayim, that the whole Metzias, the physical aspects of this world are contrasting the opposite to the spiritual aspects of the neshama. And if it gets involved with the physical aspects, it's going to be detrimental. And also, it's going to fall into Gehenna, because that's going to be an attachment to the physicality. And the physicality of the world is going against the spiritual nature of the neshama. So that's going to leave it to only be left with the physicality, which is going to be a aspect of what we call Gehenna. So,
Maharal's not easy.
what do you mean by uneasy?
Not easy. I mean,
Not
It's not easy.
he's famous for being difficult, the Maharal.
Well, no, look, I don't know where he's trying to explain things with parallelisms that based on what we see here, that.
I still don't get the parallelism of the woman to the physical.
Okay, so that's spoken about it in detail. That usually, if you compare the man and the woman is usually taken on to be the physical aspects, and the man's being the spiritual or intelligent aspects, right? That the way we can make an analysis of the woman and the man, like together you need the intelligence, you need you need the spiritual, and you need the spiritual, and you need the physical together. So that makes a situation with the intelligence, with the soul and the body exist in this world. Likewise, a husband and wife together to make up a family, and they have an existence and a successful relationship with each other, both contributing to what they primarily are. Right? So that's explained fairly commonly. The man is like the soul and the intelligence, the woman is like the physical aspects of things, representative and symbolic understanding of things.
So in other words, when it says the man should not excessively talk to the woman, we understand that's a metaphor saying that a person should not be excessively involved in the physical world.
Right. That we see from the moral. The moral is bringing it up out of the basic understanding is that we shouldn't be involved with excess conversation with women. Number one, and what is that? Because that on a more symbolic level means it's a message that you shouldn't be overly involved with the physicality of this world. That's what the Mesilas Yesharim says in the 5th parak. The Mesilas Yesharim says "Ber mafsidi hazrizus," those things which take away, that cause a loss of zehirus, carefulness, and harchaka, and take a person far from what it is. He says like this: "Hine mafsidi hamida hazos," those things which cause a destruction and a distancing, harchaka, from Zehirus. Zehirus says you have to be careful. Like when we refer to Shabbos, the Shomer b'Zocher, Shomer and Zocher. You have to be Shomer Shabbos, meaning you have to be careful to be Shomer Shabbos, not to do malacha, right? And Zocher, you have to remember the Shabbos. You have to remember. You have to do things positive. Eat good food, wear nice clothes. You have to do things positive to honor the Shabbos, right? So, when Zehirus is that you have to be careful about you're living in this world. So the Mesilas Yesharim says there are 3 basic things which cause a person to lose his sensitivity to being careful in this world. It says here, Ha'echad tipul v'tirda olamis. The person who's going to be involved and distracted with worldly activities, right? Sheni schoik valot, so he's going to be involved in levity and recreational activities, right? And shlishi chevra hara, he's going to be involved with bad friends. He's going to be involved with people that are going to take him away from his spiritual goals in life. That's going to be detrimental to him. So hine tipul hatirda, the person says like this: Ki yosa adam tar b'yanei olamo. The person's going to be involved with worldly affairs. He's going to be involved with mundane activities, right? Involved with mundane activities. Hine makshavosav asuros. His mind is going to be active and involved with the mundane activities. He's not going to be able to be properly involved with thinking about what you're supposed to do to be successful spiritually in this world. And you're either going to devote your mental activities and energies towards spiritual activities and achievements, or mundane physical activities and achievements. If you're going to choose to be successful in mundane achievements and activities, then you're going to suffer in the spiritual activities and achievements which you want to try and achieve. Right? So likewise, that's what it was saying here, that the nefesh, the soul, if it's going to be involved with the chaymer, if it's going to be involved with the physical, right, that's going to take it into the mundane world, the mundane affairs, and that's going to take it away from its achievement of spiritual activities and aspirations. So you want to try and cut back on that. You don't want to be marba with sika betela. You don't want to be marba with sika b'isha. You want to try and cut back on that, right? Reach a balance, which is going to be what's necessary is necessary, and based on a balance, then you can devote yourself primarily to what you have to do, and when you have to do other things, you devote those times when it's necessary to those things. And we're going to start getting more involved with going into more details about this Mitzvah tomorrow. So we'll stop a few minutes till next year. Okay.